Hello, friends. I, your friend C.A. Manoj Uptani, welcome you all heartily with all grace on the platform of Edupedia World. It's been a beautiful day outside, and I'm sure that you guys must be enjoying your life to the fullest, guys. And certainly, you are working really hard to accomplish your dream of becoming a chartered accountant pretty soon. Wonderful, guys. This spirit should remain intact with you a long way to go. Guys, this is going to be the fourth video presentation in which I'm going to discuss with you some of the relevant topics relating to the theorems. What all theories are revolving around exchange rate fluctuations and other stuff. So by now we have already covered three of our video presentation in which I have discussed with you some of the most fascinating kind of topics relating to the core topic of foreign exchange. I hope you guys have given proper due attention to one important thing, and which is revision. Remember guys, revision is the key to sail through your CA final examination. Don't skip on that. Never, never, never. So, are we guys all set to understand the kind of theories around which the entire exchange rate and the entire foreign exchange market revolves? What all are those theories? Are you guys excited to hear that? Perfect, guys. Fasten up your seatbelts. We're about to take off with the first topic of the day, and that will be this: theories of exchange rate fluctuation and determination. What all are the theories which revolve around the exchange rate determination, how market fluctuates, what should be the next rate, what is the current spot rate which is going on in the market, and how the forward rate will get influenced by remaining aspects which around which the economy is revolving, be it your interest rates, be it your inflation rates, be it your GDP, be it your other stuff. All these things will be like covered in these four primarily and the most famous theories which work round the clock around the world. Number one, purchasing power parity. Number two is Fischer effect. Number three is international Fischer effect. And lastly, interest rate parity. In this particular presentation, I'm going to cover two of the most important theories. One, purchasing power parity, and the second one is Fischer effect. The remaining two will be covered in my next presentation. So, fasten up your seatbelt. We are going through the first topic of the day, the core topic, which is purchasing power parity theory. Guys, this question has already been asked in CA final examination for May 2011. So, what do I mean by purchasing power parity theory? Guys, this particular topic is very simple to understand, and at the same point of time, this is a very important topic. Why it's simple? Because it's something with which you regularly deal with in your real life. Okay, you go to a marketplace. Okay, you go for a grocery shopping in your country. We are presently living in the nation which is named as India. There is exactly a person like us who will be like staying maybe in Australia, maybe in Canada. Certainly, the kind of vegetables we are purchasing here in India, the same are also available in US, Australia, Canada also. And certainly, that is the same thing which is being like consumed by the customers over there as well. The kind of potato, the tomato that you are having here in India, the same is available readily there as well. So, the basic concept of making me aware of the grocery shopping example over right here in this point of time is that purchasing power parity theory is one such theory which basically suggests you up that the purchasing power of a consumer will be similar when purchasing the goods in a foreign country or in the home country. It says, let's suppose for an example, you go to a common marketplace in your nearby market. Okay, you go for a grocery shopping, you come across a vendor and he's selling you potatoes. You ask him, brother, at what rate are you gonna provide us the potato? Let's say 1 kg. He'll say, I'll provide you 1 kg potatoes at rupees, let's say 60. Okay, now this is the present scenario which is available in India. Now the same potato is also available in US as well. The person who is staying in US, he'll go to another vendor in US and he'll ask, what's the rate at which you can provide us the potato in US? That person is going to tell him that I'll be providing you this potato at $1. So what do I mean by this stuff? I simply mean that the purchasing power to procure potato whether in our country or in US or in Australia or in Canada, it will remain same. The purchasing power will remain same. The current exchange rate which is going on in the market with respect to the currencies of India and US presently is around 65. $1 is around 65 rupees. So the potato which I can procure in India at 65 rupees, the same can be procured in US at $1. So this is what purchasing power parity suggests, that the purchasing power of the consumer will be similar when purchasing the goods in a foreign country or in the home country. Now, this is one aspect. Another aspect is basically about the inflation, and it suggests in a very simple way. It says that if in case the inflation rate in our country is greater than the inflation rate in US, then what's going to happen in future is our currency, our that is India's currency, will diminish, will somehow depreciate in comparison with uh, US dollars. The higher the amount of inflation in a particular country, the greater are the chances that the currency of that country is gonna be depreciated in comparison with another currency. Let's suppose, for an example, if I'll have to suggest you with an example, I can simply say, let's suppose in our country, the inflation rate currently available is, let's say, 6%. Okay. The inflation rate which is there in US is around 2%. The present exchange rate which is available in the market is $1 equivalent to 65 rupees. Now, since what I'm trying to say here is that since the inflation rate in our country is 6% and the inflation rate in US is merely 2% in comparison to ours, what's going to happen in a period of, let's say, 2 months, 3 months, or 1 year down the line is the exchange rate which is currently available in the market, that is $1 equal to 65, that will increase beyond 65. Why? Because the inflation rate in our country is more than what is available in US. So what's going to happen is maybe tomorrow, or maybe like 2 months, 3 months, or 1 year down the line, the exchange rate figure will be like $1 equal to, let's say, 68 rupees, $1 maybe equal to 70 rupees. So this is what is being suggested by purchasing power parity theory. It simply makes you understand with two of the concepts. Number one, that your purchasing power will remain same no matter what you stay in India, no matter what you stay in Australia or Canada. And secondly, it says that if in case the inflation rate in one country is higher than the other country, then in that particular case, the former country's exchange rate is going to be suffering in the near future to come. Certainly, the currency will go for a discount in that particular case, just like I made you understand with an example of Indian currency. So here in the forward market, certainly Indian currency will be at discount. Why? Because the inflation rate is higher in India. So these are the basic two theories which revolve around purchasing power parity theory. I hope you guys are pretty much clear with each and every kind of example and each and every kind of understanding which I made you ponder right here in front of this particular presentation. Shall we move ahead, guys? Let's go with the two different versions of purchasing power parity theory. It says there are two different versions. Number one is absolute version. Number two is relative version. What do I mean by absolute version? Absolute version is nothing but what I just made you understand in my last slide. It simply says, guys, that whatever is your purchasing power of your home currency, that will be equal to the spot rate which is available for home currency per foreign currency. The same will be like multiplied by the purchasing power of the foreign currency. You will get the LHS, which is your purchasing power of your home currency. It is basically a thing wherein it is said, guys, that the absolute version of the purchasing power parity theory is basically going to maintain that equilibrium exchange rate between the domestic as well as the foreign currencies, which is going to be equal to the ratio between domestic as well as the foreign prices. So this is how it is being said. Let's suppose I just made you understand with an example of potato. Okay, the similar example will be like used in order to make you understand about the absolute version as well. Let's suppose currently, if I'll talk about the potatoes which are available right now in our country is like around 40 rupees. Okay, and suppose that is the exact same kind of exchange rate which is available in the market. $1 is equal to 40 rupees. Okay, and the same potatoes can also be procured for rupees 40. Okay, now what if I tell you about this thing in the near future? The same is gonna be like uh, if I'll talk about with respect to US, the same thing is available, let's say, of rupees $1. Okay. Why? Because the inflation rate is at par, and the purchasing power parity theory also states the same thing, that whatever amount that you are providing as an expenditure to procure something in the market in one country, the same expenditure you need to spend out if in comparison with the exchange rate in another country. So here, whatever I'm getting at 40 rupees, the same will be like available in US for rupees $1. So that will be exactly the same kind of thing. That is what it's basically being told as absolute version, which is the relative easier version to understand. That is the absolute one. However, guys, I would like to make you understand with a few things that there are some of the limitations of absolute version, or maybe like relative version of the triple P theory as well. So what all will be like the things wherein this particular theory won't apply. Number one, if in case you are having some kind of, let's say, import and export restrictions in the country, let's suppose I am producing here in India potato. Okay, we are growing the crops of potato, and potato is being taken care of in our country. And somehow the same potato is just not available in any other country in the world. It's just not available. Okay, so what's gonna happen in this particular scenario? Each and every country will be like importing from us, and we'll be the one who will be like exporting the potato in the market of different countries of the world. So do you even think that we'll be like providing them the potato at the same kind of rate in which we are actually consuming in our own country? Absolutely not. So wherein this thing comes into the picture, which is the import and export restrictions, it happens wherein any of the countries basically manufacturing or producing something which is just not available in any other country of the world. So here, this particular theory will not be like sustainable. Why? Because certainly you'll be offering the same thing to another country at a much higher price, taking out the leverage benefit out of it. So this is one limitation. Second, if in case too much travel costs are being involved, let's suppose you need to send across some of the goods to another country, and there are like too much travel costs is being involved, be it your fuel, be it your any other way of transportation, be it your shipping cost, be it your forwarding charges, be it your clearing things. All these things basically add up to the value or cost of that particular consumption thing which is going to be available in that country. So certainly this is also going to be adding to the value or the cost of that particular stuff, and it may be very expensive to transport all those goods from one market to another market, making that arbitrage like unattractive. So certainly there is a very good possibility that the other country may not go for an option of procuring the same goods from your country. Why? Because the travel costs are so much. So this is second limitation. Third is perishable goods. Let's suppose you are into the business of fishing. Okay, you provide fishes, you catch fishes from the sea, and certainly you go in the market and sell them up. Fishes are basically considered under perishable goods. These are the goods. Certainly, these goods are become like not good for eating purposes. If I'll talk about for the consumption purposes, you cannot have a fish beyond a particular point of time. So if a fish is rotten, certainly you'll be like throwing it away. So since it's a perishable goods, it might not be physically very much possible to transfer the goods from one market to another within that particular stipulated period of time. So again, that is also a limitation with respect to the version of triple P theory. Next, it comes with the location. Let's suppose you are also transferring some kind of, let's say, immovable property from one place to another. So again, from one different location to another different location. So it can be a thing wherein in between, during the passage of time, during that transit, it may be exploited, and certainly the benefits of those variables may not be available to that another country. So again, this will make the arbitrage unattractive, certainly. So this is also one of the limitation. And lastly, while you are purchasing while basically you are purchasing power parity theory, it helps you in understand the exchange rate differentials. At the same point of time, the exchange rates do not always converge into the long run the way this particular theory tells you up. So this is again a limitation of it. So various limitations are there, I can say, relating to the various versions of purchasing power parity theory, be it your import, your export restrictions, be it your travel costs, be it your perishable goods, be it your location, and Also, if in case, even if you're very much good in applying this theory, that might be a possibility on a case wherein in the long run the same is not gonna be providing you the requisite kind of results. So all these are the limitations of purchasing power parity theory. I hope you guys are pretty much clear with each and every kind of example and each and every kind of limitation which I made you understand over here. Perfect, guys. Let's move towards the relative version. I made you understand absolute one. I made you understand with the limitations relating to the versions of triple P theory. Now let's understand and come to the point relating to relative version. What basically relative version is all about? It's very simple, guys. It simply says that in the long run, like if I'll talk about where 3 months down the line, 4 months down the line, or maybe year down the line, okay, the relative version of this particular triple P doctrine, it simply says that in the long run, the exchange rates, they will reflect the relative purchasing power of the currencies. No matter what, the currencies will automatically adjust themselves with the response of the interest and the inflation differentials which are going on in the country. So I can simply say it relates with that equilibrium kind of changes in the exchange rate to make the changes in the ratio of domestic as well as the foreign products. Let me make you understand with a kind of example with relating to this particular formula that I have stated in this presentation. It says that relative triple P is equal to the price at the point T. At the point T. T basically means, let's say 1 year down the line, divided by the price which is available currently, that is P0. Period 0 means now. That will be equal to 1 plus the inflation of home currency to the power T, that is the future period which is 1 year down the line, divided by 1 plus inflation differential for foreign currency to the power T, again 1 year down the line. So what it's basically saying is, let's suppose I'll make you understand with an example. Guys, assume that the exchange rate between Indian rupee and pound, which is currently going on in the country, is let's say around 85 rupees. Okay, 85 rupees per pound. Now also you need to assume that the inflation which is available in our country is let's say 6% for the coming year. And for UK, let's understand that the inflation rate is 2%, okay, for the same period, which is 1 year. So what I can simply say with purchasing power parity theory is that the British pound should approximately like appreciate by 4%. Why? Because the inflation differential is of 4%. Our inflation is like 6%. Their inflation is like 2%. So certainly the one which is providing you the max amount of inflation in comparison with both of them, certainly it will depreciate. So I can simply say that the British pound should approximately appreciate by let's say 4% relative to Indian rupee. Now what's going to happen in this particular theory once I apply the relative version? What it will say is our current rate is 85 rupees. The same will be multiplied with 1.006, that is the inflation rate of our country, divided by 1 plus 0.002. So that is the inflation rate of UK. And you will get to know that the price after a year will come out to be around 88 rupees. Currently, the price is 85 rupees. And if the same is being multiplied with the inflation rate of India and the same is being divided by inflation rate of UK, you'll come across a point wherein you'll get that your country's currency is gonna be depreciated against British pounds. So now presently whatever thing you are able to procure for 85 rupees, the same will be like available to you after a year for 88 rupees. So what can I say? What can I draw with this conclusion? I can simply say that my country's currency, that is Indian currency, is gonna be depreciated. And this is what relative version is talking about. In the long run, the exchange rates will adjust to the inflation differentials at its approximity. This is what relative version talks about, and the formula is pretty simple. That is the price which will be available after a year or maybe 3 months or maybe 4 months depending on the question, divide the same with the price which is available currently in the market. That will be equal to the inflation rate of your country divided by the inflation rate of foreign country. And this is what relative version talks about. I hope guys you are pretty much clear with each and every kind of concept which I made you understand relating to purchasing power parity theory, be it your absolute version, be it your limitations, be it your relative theory. If in case even after explaining all these things, if in case you have still got slightest of doubt, you just need to ping me up in YouTube comments boxes. I'll try to ensure and make your grievances clear right at the beginning itself. Shall we proceed further with Fischer effect, guys? Let's go ahead and understand Fischer effect now. So, guys, again, a very, very interesting kind of theory, and again, a very, very simpler one. Okay, what does Fischer effect basically talks about? So, before telling you about the Fischer effect, let's pay the homage, let's pay that gratitude to the person who introduced us to this wonderful kind of theory. It was Mr. Irving Fisher. Okay, he was accommodated and accorded with a lot many prizes in the finance field. So Irving Fisher was the person who actually derived this theory, the Fisher effect. And basically, what he was talking about in this particular theory was very, very simple stuff. It basically says that your interest rate, which is nominal one, okay, it's basically made up of two components. One, required rate of return, and the another one is inflation premium. Real rate of return, real rate of required return is basically a kind of rate which is available in each and every country at a very similar margins. Let's say if I'll talk about the inflation rate, let's suppose in India, if I say the inflation rate in India is 6% and the inflation rate in let's say US is just merely 3%. So what I can say and derive with this particular stuff is that there is a very good possibility that the real rate of return, that is the real inflation rate in our country, would also be like around let's say 2%, and in US also the same is around 2%. But what's the kind of difference which is making our interest rate, our total interest rate, to 6% and to theirs as 3% is basically that inflation premium. Inflation in our country is way beyond in comparison with the one which is available in US. Our inflation is like, let's say, 4% and their inflation is like merely 1%. So the total nominal interest rate in both the countries become 6% and 3% accordingly. So this is what Fisher effect states all about. Okay, it says that your nominal interest rate, that is the final interest rate that you are shedding out of your pocket, is basically made up of two components. One is real required rate of return. That is something which is similar and same in all the countries, amongst all the countries. So the different thing which makes the nominal interest rate different in various other countries is its inflation premium. So that is very much different in each case. Here in India, the inflation rate is much higher as compared to the countries like US, UK. So that is what Fisher effects is all about. So it simply says that nominal rate will be like equal to your real rate plus the inflation. So that was all about Fisher effect. It's pretty much simple, very easy to understand. All you need to just know is the concept and the knowledge, and certainly you move ahead. Perfect, guys. With this, this presentation stands complete. If in case you have got any of the doubts, any of the grievances with relation to this particular presentation, do let me know. I'll surely ping you up and provide you the requisite feedback wherever it's feasible. So with this, I'll say thank you on behalf of the Edupedia world. If in case you have liked our video, if in case you found it useful, certainly do share with your friends and family. Like, share and subscribe to this video. Keep interacting, guys. That will help us in understanding your needs way better, and stay connected. I'll see you in my next presentation with a lot more fascinating topics and the remaining theories. Till then, God bless you all. Sayonara. Bye.